When you pick up an Android phone, you just expect it to work, right? Your app's open, your Wi-Fi connects, the screen just does what you want it to do. But have you ever stopped to think about what makes a Samsung, a Pixel, and a OnePlus all play by the same basic rules? Well, it turns out there's a hidden blueprint, a kind of master plan, that governs every single device that calls itself Android.
So let's ask that question. What really makes this an Android phone? I mean, it's not just the little green robot logo or the software that boots up. The real answer is actually way more technical, and it's the secret sauce that guarantees a consistent experience for literally billions of users all over the world. And here's the secret. It's a massive, 100-plus page document called the Compatibility Definition Document, or CDD for short. This thing is the master blueprint. It lays out every single technical requirement a device absolutely must meet to even be considered compatible with Android. It's the foundation for the entire ecosystem. Okay, so let's dive into this thing. I know, at first glance, it looks like a wall of technical jargon, but once you learn to speak its language, you can see exactly how your phone is built and why it works the way it does. Inside the CDD, there are basically two key terms you gotta know. First, there's must. This is completely non-negotiable. If a device maker wants the Google Play Store and all the other Google apps, they must follow these rules, period. Then you have strongly recommended. This is kind of Google's way of saying, hey, you don't have to do this, but it's gonna make your device way better and more consistent. It's a really brilliant balance, right? You get strict rules for the core stuff, but enough flexibility for manufacturers to innovate and do their own thing. And check this out. Every single rule has its own unique ID, almost like a postal code. So something like 7.1.4.2/H-21 might look like gibberish, but it tells you everything. It points to the exact section of the document. The H means it applies to handheld devices, so, phones. And the rest of the numbers pinpoint the specific requirement. It's this super precise system that creates a clear rule for every kind of device, whether it's a phone, a car, or even a watch. All right, so let's see how these abstract rules on a page actually translate into that smooth experience you feel in your hand. Because performance isn't just a suggestion in the CDD, it's an absolute mandate with some incredibly specific demands. Just look at this requirement right here. This isn't some vague goal like scrolling should be smooth. No, it's a hard number. Every single compatible Android phone must be able to scroll through a list of 10,000 items in under 36 seconds. This one rule is a huge reason why scrolling on pretty much any Android phone feels so fluid. And Google doesn't just set a rule like that and then walk away. They actually provide the tools to help developers meet it. Using something called the Android Profiler, developers can literally watch their app's CPU, memory, and graphics performance in real time. It helps them hunt down and fix any bottlenecks to make sure they can pass that 36-second scrolling test. But here's the classic trade-off, right? To get that silky smooth 60 frames per second scrolling that easily passes the test, the phone's processor has to work overtime, and that just kills your battery. Performance and power are always in this constant tug of war. And this is where innovation happens within those strict rules. Some clever researchers developed a method called SCAR, which stands for Scrolling-Aware Rendering. So instead of redrawing the entire screen 60 times a second, SCAR intelligently pre-renders content just off screen, and then just slides it into view as you scroll. And the result? The phone is doing way less work, but the experience feels just as smooth, all while saving up to 30% on battery life. That's a huge. Okay, so let's switch gears and see how the CDD's rules for graphics create this massive ripple effect that impacts the entire software world. What you see on your screen really starts with just a few core mandates. The CDD mandates that all devices must support core graphics APIs like OpenGL-ES and Vulkan. Now, an API is basically a standard way for software to talk to hardware. Think of it like a universal language. By requiring these specific APIs, the CDD makes sure that every app developer can communicate with any Android phone's graphics chip, no matter who made it. And that one mandate? Well, it's the bedrock for something called Skia, which is Google's super powerful 2D graphics library. Pretty much everything you see on your screen that isn't a 3D game, we're talking the text, the buttons, the images, it's all being drawn by Skia. And Skia works so reliably because it's built on that solid foundation of graphics APIs that the CDD guarantees will always be there. And here's where the amazing ripple effect kicks in. A single must rule in the CDD enables Skia. Skia then enables a whole global community to build amazing tools on top of it, like Skia for Delphi. This means developers can use Android's powerful graphics engine to build apps not just for Android, but for iOS, Windows, and macOS too.
It all starts with one simple rule in the blueprint. So, a manufacturer has followed the 100-page blueprint. They've met all the performance rules. They've included the right graphics APIs. But how does Google actually verify all of this? How do they know for sure?
Well, the answer is the Compatibility Test Suite, or CTS, and it is a beast. It's a massive collection of over 2 million automated tests that check every single must requirement in the CDD. You should think of it as the final, absolutely non-negotiable exam. If a device fails the CTS, it is not officially an Android-compatible device. End of story.
This is the final gauntlet every single manufacturer has to go through. First, they build the hardware. Then they have to run the CTS. That device has to pass those millions of automated tests. And only then does it earn the right to be called an official Android device and get access to the Google Play Store. So after all of this, why does this incredibly detailed, super technical blueprint even matter so much? What is the real-world impact of all these rules and all these tests? Well, the impact is this number, $36.2 billion. That's how much people like you and me spent on mobile apps in just one quarter. That entire economy is built on a foundation of trust. The trust that when you download an app, it's just going to work. That trust is manufactured by the rules in the CDD and enforced by the tests in the CTS. This hidden blueprint is literally the bedrock of a massive global market. And that brings us to a really fascinating final thought. This blueprint, it's not set in stone. It's a living document that's constantly evolving. As technology is racing towards AI, foldable screens, and totally new kinds of devices we haven't even thought of yet, this rulebook has to keep up. So the big question is, what's going to be the next non-negotiable must in the future of Android's blueprint?